It is different. It just is. And I don't know how anyone can think it isn't. I'll explain what I mean in a second.
For the record, lab on me going all the way. For the record, ain't trying to link, no time to waste. For the record.
Hey gang, it's Maria here from GoalieTrainingPro.com, and what I'm talking about is training for goalies. I'm just heading out to the NSCA, which is a National Strength and Conditioning Association. They have an annual off-ice training for hockey, or training for hockey clinic in Colorado Springs. So I'll be heading there in a day or two to present on specifically on mobility training for goalies. But we always get in the discussion with colleagues and people I really respect about how goalie training is different, or if it isn't different. And there'll still be some strength coaches who say, no, it's not different at all. There's some little kids gonna come start running around here in about 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1, here they are. And it always sort of baffles me a little bit because, you know, we all studied, most of us studied at university, like anatomy, biomechanics, physiology, so different energy systems. And you can kind of look at, okay, what are the energy demands of being a goalie? Is it similar to a skater? Are they going in shifts that are, I know every skater shift isn't exactly the same, but you know, there's a control, right? You can skate over to the bench and another guy comes over the boards and away you go. A goalie can't really do that. If you are hemmed in your end, then it just sucks to be you for as long as that takes. For the most part, you're more of a repeat sprinter. So you have some really high intensity, but very short duration movements, then a little bit of recovery. So right from that, you can see. So there's one huge difference. The energy system demands really, really different. And I'd say a much broader range. So it can be something, you know, as just like a quick save, quick movement, save, redirect the puck to the corner, or it can be, just like those guys have the puck behind your net, then it's out in front, so you're back to your feet, coming out to cut off the angle, goes back behind the net, you're back in your VH, and your legs are just getting crushed. So that's one. The kids chased me from my strategically scouted filming position, post. I like that better. Going to find some kidless place. This is more like it. No kids. Some heavy machinery being operated, but otherwise we're good. So, energy system is one. Now let's look at your movement pattern. So it's like to say that a goalie's training shouldn't be any different from a skater's training is like saying quarterback shouldn't do any different training than a linebacker, that a pitcher shouldn't do anything different than an outfielder. It's kind of crazy, right? So let's look at the patterns of movement that are required. A skater is mostly frontal plane. Is mostly sagittal plane. So, their body's split into right and left. They're using one arm in the opposite leg. And they're moving kind of in a forward and backwards direction. I know that they cut side to side, but for the most part, even when they cut, sometimes it's a carving turn, sometimes it's a crossover. When we look at how a goalie moves, yes, they have to move forward to back, but there's so much frontal plane movement, so movement side to side. You don't see that at all in skaters, and it's really, really different. And it's a different kind of load. It's a different kind of load on your legs, different kind of load on your hips. You have to use a different sort of core stabilization even to do that type of movement pattern effectively. So we need to train that specifically. Let's look at other movement patterns. Let's look at the bottom-up movement pattern. So when a goalie makes a save in their butterfly, they have to recover from the bottom up. Almost all other sports, we're kind of top down. Even when we train, traditionally we train with a squat. We pick up the bar from a standing position, we squat down with it, we come back up to the top. We've sort of build a little bit of momentum on our way down, and then come back up to the top. If you're a goalie and you're in your butterfly or your RVH or whatever, and you recover, you have to overcome that momentum from a real disadvantageous position, which is that bottom up position. It's a lot easier. I guess we make a simple example or analogy. It's easier to sit down in a chair than it is to get up out of a chair. Depends how much you've had to eat, I guess. But so we have to take into account that bottom up strength. And one that we use all the time. Here's, I'm just going to put this camera on the snowbank right here. That gives goalies a ton of trouble is just this bottom up squat. So starting in that half kneeling position, lifting the leg up and standing up out of the bottom. I don't care how much you can squat. When you do that bottom up squat, it's way different. It's hard. You could probably squat hundreds of pounds and really struggle with that single leg bottom up squat, which leads me to my next point, which is hip stabilization. A goalie's hips is like a pitcher's shoulder. You need to be stable, smart, have stamina, have strength in those muscles, the deep muscles that help control your hip joint, not just your big quads and your big glutes, your hamstrings. You need to have control over those rotators as well. So that's another element that we need to work on. How about the hand-eye part? So you need to use a blocker, you need to use a glove to catch. Skaters don't do that. They might glove a puck and put it down. They might cover a puck when it's in the crease. Bad things happen when they do that, but it's not part of their bread and butter. For you, it is. So we need to train how to do that and be better at that and respond to that. And then let's consider the equipment, for goodness sakes. I didn't even fully appreciate this until I started strapping on the pads and going out and trying to stop pucks myself. The bulk of the equipment, the weight of the equipment, even when you pick up each piece, it's like, wow, this isn't as heavy as I thought it would be. It's certainly a lot lighter than it used to be. But add all that equipment on, add that bulk, moving with the bulk. It's completely different from what a skater has to do. So I don't know what to tell you. I don't understand people who say there's no difference, because there clearly is. And it's not a world of difference. It's not 100% different, but it's that 20 to 30% different. Goalie still needs to be an amazing athlete, just like a skater. They need to be strong. They'll still do, front squats, trap bar deadlifts, single leg squats. They'll still build upper body strength and general core stabilization. But then we need to take that next step to give them those specific transferable tools that will be there for them on the ice, so you can move the way your goalie coach wants you to move, and you can get to the puck, make a save, recover, get compact again, and be ready for the next shot, ideally without blowing out your groin. I'll tell you what goalie specific training is not, and I think this is where some coaches get dug in or got dug in, because initially people were putting out stuff like, oh, goalie specific training, like standing on a ball, squatting a barbell, standing on a ball, throwing a medicine ball on the wall, literally wearing their gear, doing agility training. That is not what it is. I don't think anybody thinks that's what it is anymore. So I hope that clears up some of the myths and gives you an idea of what is and what isn't goalie specific training. Here comes some heavy equipment, so I better get out of here. See ya. Hey, I almost forgot, before I get run over, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, give me a like, subscribe, hit the bell. It's noisy. And if you want one of the simplest things you can do to kickstart your goalie specific off-ice training, download the Butterfly Challenge. I'll leave a link in the first comment below. I'll pin the comment to the top so it's totally easy to find, and I will catch you next time. Ba-boom.